Let's begin our session by praying together. Let's pray together. Okay, thanks, guys. Meeting number 14. Good afternoon. Assalamualaikum. Let's have a check on our presence list. I believe that next week is supposed to be quiz. Okay, so please be ready for that. Today we will talk about evaluation and your progress, of course. Yes, quiz and final project report for next week. Okay, be ready. Prepare your stuffs. I will create a submission for the files, etc. in my desk classroom later. So as necessary, you may store. I think it's just a matter of document because what you need to do is design, putting the noodles inside and create paragraphs to explain about it. So you need to integrate all of your ideas, your work, individuals' ideas would be accumulated into one single document. Make a PDF and furnish it, decorate, make it beautiful, and try to basically, this is like something that you want to show to the saying investor. So this is my proposal for developing such wonderful application. I would like you to invest on this product. We would like to make it a huge trend on top of it. Okay, so that's the goal for the next week presentation. So I would like to create the submission later on the my desk class.
Since we use picture,
Yes.
what we do is that we'll make it document.
Yes. You may put the URL to your PicGen inside this, but please also copy and paste the. I suggest you to provide the vector version rather than if it's possible. I don't know whether it's possible or not. If it's vector, then if we zoom in the document, we can still see the details, even though like you have a lot of sticky notes. Diagrams.
Rearrange it because
Yeah, better to rearrange. If the case like your frame in your Figma Jam is a landscape, so it's okay to have that. If you have your document to have your report in landscapes, okay. Or you can also make it like alternate after having portrait, and then if that's necessary, you need to present it in a landscape, then do it so. You can just provide make it for the landscape. Today's presentation can actually be learned from the video, as always, from Udacity, from that guide, from that feature. I will extract or summarize or try to explain to you the highlights, the important things, and the rest. I expect you to watch the video later for more details. So if you open the Udacity, you may visit especially the chapter number 3.6, this one. Okay, about the evaluation. And
since we are studying like jumping from one to another, how do you study for the final and the next week?
for the final exam, you mean the quiz?
Yeah.
basically the quiz is everything that we discussed, the theoretical things during the discussion. So you can, as long as you attend the meeting, then and hopefully that you can still you still remember what we are talking about, but that we have talked about. The materials would not be out of that. Okay, and it should be also reflected on the what you are currently working on your final project. All those structures. So from the beginning to the end, if you check on this here, so these are going to be the materials, the topics that we would like to examine on you.
We as a student don't have the
Yeah, I just figured out we have. If you like select the percentage thing, you can see the individual.
Really? Yeah, you can do that. Ah, awesome. Thanks for finding that.
Yeah, by accident I just found it. That does help.
That's all. And actually, I also already organized our My Test classroom pretty well according to the present list, topics on the present list. So you just follow what I'm putting here. And basically, it's everything that's on the My Test classroom will appear on the exam. And I also expect that every single item that we talk about in here to appear on your final report. Okay. Next week, before we conduct the class, I'm sorry, before we conduct the exam, I will. So, I think the Asar prayer is now is 10 to 3, right? It's around 10 to 3. So try your best to pray on that time, and then so I can start the class session at 3 o'clock. Okay, at 3 o'clock, and then I will kind of recap what we learned this semester. Okay, and then at 3:30 we start the quiz. Okay, we start the quiz, and at 4 we expect that we already talked about the final project report. 3 teams, right? So I think it's enough. 20 minutes for each. 10 minutes for presentation and 10 minutes for discussion for each team. Okay. Now I would like to go with my slide presentation. I can. Oh, wait. If we go here, you can check the learning plan. Let's take a look on our learning plan to make sure that we are on track. Student meeting number 14. We learn about how to evaluate our idea. These are the primary reference for the topic, and the video from Udacity is this supporting reference. But even though this is supporting, I think this is, in my opinion, the most useful and the most efficient or the most effective media for you to start with learning about every single topic that we need to cover in this course. It's quite comprehensive. I really love this guy. He really covers everything that we need to know in human computer interaction. And for written reference, again, for especially for the number 14, this topic about the evaluation, you need to visit this particular book. The detail of evaluation cannot be found in the design of everyday things, our Bible in this course. You need to go with this one for the evaluation, especially. Okay. Let me go with some slides. Let me prepare that first. There are two types, or not this one. Today is actually we want to focus more on the usability evaluation, but this is kind of like just one type of evaluations that we can pick for assessing our idea. Usability evaluation, as indicated or noted in our presence list. So if you check on our presence list, this is what the term that I put in here. But actually, I would also like to this one usability evaluation, but I want to also talk about the evaluation in general later. Okay, usability evaluation is in evaluation with novice, means with somebody with users that is not really familiar with your app, but they are in the problem domain. For example, we talk about the TikTok shop, the alternative for shopping experience using a place like TikTok. In your solution, you provide AR technology. In this case, you need to invite like somebody that is not really into the AR, like not informatics or computer science students, something like that. But they should be somebody's that in their daily life they are indeed buyers or sellers in this case. But again, they are not like expert in using that technology. So that's we call it novice participants. Okay. So I believe for each project, it has specific segments, specific group of people that is categorized as novice. You may need to identify this and populate, list the name is necessary in your in your proposal. And I also demand that even though your design is not like manifested in a very concrete prototype, it's just a matter of idea, right? But I would like you to also discuss this idea with novice, okay, later. Actually, the best way to get good results in usability evaluation is to have a concrete prototype, something that you can give to the users for them to test themselves. So that's the best way for this usability evaluation. So later within this week, I strongly suggest you to create more concrete. Just it's not necessary for you to have a complete scenario of your problem domain, okay, for your solution. Just pick one or two tasks, okay, strategic tasks. Okay, just pick one or two tasks and create the working prototype for that. Something that the user can click, can maybe using Figma. I think this is one of the best way. Or maybe if you cannot, but I think I still suggest you to learn how to use Figma because that's more interactive. Actually, you can also manage to have that with PowerPoint slides. You can manage to have a hyperlink, click on this button and then go to the some other page. You can have that interactive pages in as your storyboard. But I think it will be easier. You just need to put more a bit efforts to learn how to use Figma, but it is worth. And from those working prototype, then you may evaluate, like for example, whether they can achieve or complete the task successfully. So it's like a task completion, but it's not only about the whether the task is completed or not, but also you may manage to measure to time their performance, okay? To measure their completion time, okay, if necessary. So that will be one of your activity in this final project, your last activity, this evaluation, okay? And I suggest you to, not suggest, I'm just gonna ask you to invite 4 to 5 participants, okay? For the task, okay? But they have to be somebody that's not in this class, okay? And if it's possible, try to find, as I said, somebody that really has such experience in that problem domain. They buy things or sell things in your TikTok application, and then maybe it's okay. It's not it's okay to not find a really Gojek driver, but please try to find somebody that really can in their daily life ride a motorcycle. So not car driver, okay, but motorcycle rider, okay, for your test and for the. I think it's more generic for your case because yes, smartphone, etc. Just make sure that they know about smart home. Okay. So that's gonna be your last uh, task for this pilot project. Why usability evaluations does matter in design in human computer interaction? Yeah, because through the usability evaluation, we can manage to enhance the user experience despite the proficiency, despite the familiarity, despite the skill the users has. Expert users, novice users may benefit from from the usability evaluation. Okay, in this case, the context is after you go through this usability evaluation, you may expect that you got some feedback from your users, from the expert, from the novice, both of them. Okay. And this feedback will be valuable, will be helpful to improve your product iteration. So it may inspire you which part to be fixed, which part is to be maintained and to be further furnished, etc. Okay, so that's why yes.
But in a case where the people don't have anything to say, what should you do?
Then it means it's not really. It can be
Just small.
two possible. There are two possibilities on that. One, your user is too expert, so they really know how to handle things. So that means that you need to find more amateur participants.
Right.
But if that is not the case, then your design is already good, which is a good news. Then it means that this design, this idea can go to the production stage. So it is the time for the software developers, uh, for the programmers to implement that. So that's I have some kind of strategy to also later in the next slides to help us indicating that this design is enough, so then you can go to the production line, or you should reiterate, go back to the need finding. You need to check your 5 whys, those things that we designed in the beginning, etc., and try to check the scope whether you have formulated the features properly, whether, and then you check on the strategy of how you design your layout, your information, etc. Okay, so it depends. On the next slides, I'll explain about that later. Okay, 4 or 5 participants is good enough. It's not necessary for you to achieve 30. Actually, in a statistic, it's a very well known that if you want to like achieve confidence in our truth, we need to find 30 people to assess our hypothesis, and then put the statistical tools to help us conclude whether our hypothesis is correct or not. In common understanding in statistics, usually we need to achieve that 30 people. But in agile development, in human computer interaction prototype that requires faster duration or shorter duration in the iteration, then I think it's not necessary for you to achieve this number. 4 or 5 people is already good enough, because you kind of discover already the 80% of the problems that may appear in your idea, in your prototype. Okay, 4 to 5 is enough. And it's based on some research. You can check it on here in this article later. Based on this research, if you go like more than 5, it's even less efficient in terms of the resources that you need to utilize for the problems finding, the evaluation for the evaluation. Okay. The most important thing in here, in addition to quantify the user performance, you need to, like, as I said, count the number of user mistakes as necessary. You can define the term of mistakes based on the task, depend on your goals, But in macro, if you cannot like detail, like go into the micro interaction of your task, then it's okay for you just like measuring whether your user can complete this task, task A, B, C or not. Just measure how many tasks correct, and then how long does it take for the users to complete the task. You need to calculate that. This is just a matter of practice. In reality later, you will need to keep these numbers and then compare it with the next prototype actually. Okay. Thus, you may kind of decide or determine whether this prototype is superior to the previous one or inferior. If it's superior, then we can put this prototype to the production line. But if it's not, then it means the previous prototype is even better. Then we need to reiterate our design process, give some more a better furnishment in the design, etc., and evaluate it again. In addition to those quantification, you also need to watch the user's behavior and record everything. If it's possible, you need to videotape your session if it's possible. Because sometimes during the experiment, you may miss some moment, and that moment can be very important for the development. So recording the session, also if it's possible, screencast the session in the case you create that Figma prototype and then you play that Figma prototype for the users during the experiment, screencast that, record the screen, so that later you can also like recheck the session recording for your own evaluation, okay, for the sake of the accountability of your product development. Every single decision in your design, in your interaction design has to be based on the user's feedback, actually, basically. Okay. But for this first iteration is still okay because we of course depart based on our own assumption and some of my advice, right? So I give you several if it's not a multitude of advices already for your design, that's based on my previous experiencing but based on my previous experience supervising many projects before. But still, even though I give you a lot of good advice, it doesn't mean that my even my suggestions to your work are like the absolute truth, the absolute best strategy for your product. It really depends again on the situation, on the context, and your users are everything. Okay. So watching the user's behavior is very important. And then your mentality should be during the experiment, during the evaluation, your mentality is supposed to be like evaluate your idea. So we are not testing the users. Please keep in mind, even though you ask your friends to help you checking or assessing your idea, it doesn't mean that even though and even though, as I said, you need to time their performance, you need to count how many mistakes do they create, do they make, but it doesn't mean that we test them. Okay, keep this in your mind. We are not testing our users. We are testing our prototype. The users is helping you. Okay, for the sake of a better product. Right. And then you need to know at least two terms in evaluation. And it's very important because otherwise your evaluation may fall into the confirmation bias. Okay? There will be some bias in the results if you do not care about this issue. The first one is reliability, what's so-called reliability. Okay. Reliability is like do the results generalize to other people? Like in the video, you can check it later on the video by that Udacity. Like for example, let me ask you, Fauzan, what time is it now? It's four, almost four. Almost four, to be exact. To be exact? It's four. That's four. And my watch is late. What your watch is late? How about you? What time is it now? Four. It's four. How is about you? Do you get watch? Four in your phone as well. Also four. We may say that as long as the device and if I ask you, can like for example, what time is it now? What time is it now? It's four. So I may say that in this case, Fauzan is a reliable sources for me when asking about the time. It's reliability. Okay. Because every time I ask him about the time, the result is the same. It's reliable. Okay. And then because he used the for example, the phone as a measurement device, okay, measurement apparatus. However, if I ask you, for example, how hot is it now? This room. And which how much degree? 38. Can you give some answer? 35. Yeah. So it is not reliable, right? Because we right now do not have a specific temperature device that help us to not to predict, like to read the current circumstances in this room. And we can only like depend on our assumption based. This is using like the sensors in our body, everything here, but I believe it may be different across users, among many users. Right? So we cannot, we can say that asking temperature to one or other student may not be reliable in this case because the answers are different among each other. Okay, that's reliability, and it's a very important issue. And since we play with people and we do not play with phone or watch to measure the thing that we want to measure in our evaluation, right? So it's different with the asking time. Asking time, you can just check your watch if your watch is synchronized with the computer in the server, etc. So it's a reliable. But when I ask about temperature, about your own performance in completing some tasks in your design, the results may vary across users. So it's somehow to ensure the reliability, in the end, we need to work with statistics. Okay. That's why every time we have a evaluation that includes or that incorporate or that involve human being, we need to have statistics to help us to make the results really reliable. We will play with the confidence interval, we will play with the p-value, but it's not necessary for you to provide this in your report. Okay, just for your information. Well, you just need to know. You need to know about this. Okay. And then the next thing, the second term that you need to understand is validity. Did the evaluation measure what we want? Did the number match with the reality? For example, if I ask you about the time, what time is it now, Thousand?
It's 4:05.
4:05. Okay. So in this case, the answer is valid because if you check on your each watch, the result will be the same, right? But if I ask for example, we have a friend, we are in a Zoom call, for example, and our friend is in Bali. Okay. I ask the time, what time is it now? The answer would be 5:05. Is it valid for our reality? It's not valid. But for him, for her, it's valid. Okay. So we need to make sure that we ask the question to the correct counterparts. Okay. So if you ask a time for you in Surabaya and your counterpart is somebody in a different different time region, okay, then you got invalid data. Okay, you got invalid data. That is very important. If you, for example, for Gojek drivers, if you invite them to measure your helmet performance, okay, your UI in your helmet, etc., with the tasks that you design them to try, the result will be valid. We can still consider that as valid because that application, that device is meant to be for them. Okay, in reality, we want to design it for them. But then if you let the car drivers, for example, or pilot, airplane pilots for that device, the result will be invalid. Okay. Or if we go more like a very extreme, let's say you ask children under the age like 5 years old children and you ask them to try your helmet and asking them any questions, they can even they may even like a blubbers, they do not know what they talk about. The result will be invalid. Very extreme example, but hopefully that you got the idea. So usually because we pick wrong users for our evaluation. But somehow, with respect to the validity, we may fall into what's so-called confounding vectors. Okay. So for example, again, sorry, I'm using your case again. The helmet for that motorcycle riders. If the case is you only invite male riders, okay, and that's it. That is your report, okay. You've never invited female riders. In fact, there might be some female riders in the context of your problem domain, okay. This result of male riders that you invite during your experiments may not represent the performance of the female riders. Their opinions, their feedback may also do not reflect the female riders. And this is very important. And in this case, gender becomes confounding factor. Especially when we talk about navigation, you need to know about this because we have a very, I read a very interesting book. If you Google it, it's called Men Do Not Men Do Not Listen and Women Can Read the Map. This one. Have you read this book? Do you know about this book? It's very popular back then. Why men don't listen and women cannot read the maps. There's a structure in our brain that distinguish. So basically the way the female's brain works is different compared to male's one. And one of them is in terms of spatial navigation. When you need to navigate the space. Okay. And that's why many women have a difficulty in driving cars. Okay. Because in nature, when we talk about some quite unique psychology, in nature, women is supposed to be at home, like maintaining the the nest. In the we will talk about our ancestor, etc. And the man is the ones that going outside, hunting for foods, right? So they need to navigate the space. They need to know how to play with those preys, okay, finding the animals for the food, etc. But women, in their nature, they do not need to do it. That's why the way the brain works was based on that experience. And so that's why confounding vectors may occur in your case with respect to gender. Okay. And there are many other cases. But it's okay. It's okay if you cannot identify this for now because we are in this human computer interaction. Just focus on how to formulate the idea or the interaction. And this is like the initial step of your design career. So it's okay but later especially when you take, for example, UX course, you will need to know about this.
So can you explain in a simple term what is confounding?
Confounding factors. Let me give you some other examples. It usually happens if you, for example, compare to, let's talk about measuring your typing speed on a phone's keyboard. Okay, typing speed on your phone's keyboard. You ask your. There are two users. Okay. The device that is used for the test is your phone. What is your phone? Is that's Android device?
Yeah.
Okay, that's Android device. One of your one of your participants is Android user, just like you, but the other one is iOS user. Now we want to test them on some tasks, typing paragraphs using your phone. They need to use your phone. Okay. And the tasks are actually the same. You need to ask them to write down some paragraphs, and we want to know their skills, their typing skills. Okay. And then, in fact, these two are comparably the same, their performance actually. You say the informatics students very good in they are touch typing on the keyboards, and if they use the keyboard on the device on your mobile phone, they're supposed to be like already mastering how to type. But then we got the results. The user A, the participant A performs better than the B. You guys, make a guess. What is the factor? Even though they are in the same skill actually.
Yeah, they use different devices. Yeah.
Yes. The second, the ones that are inferior, already only familiar to the iOS environment. And I believe that the virtual keyboard on your phone behaves differently, okay, across this operating system. The look and then the behavior when you touch it, the feedback, etc. So it may like make the iOS user uncomfortable, even though they have the same skill, and they may make more mistakes, etc. Even though the task is the same, the paragraph is the same. So that device, that operating system, that environment, or OS environment is confounding factors. Can you understand that? Something that make the task or the evaluation unfair. The same with the gender. The same with gender.
Maybe it's not a
Fair.
yeah. That's
This actually to ensure that these confounding factors will not influence the validity of your evaluation results in your experiment, you need to recruit those group of people fairly. I mean, like for the case of the helmet, then it should supposed to be not only male users, but we also invite female users as one of the as part of the participants. So that if the case is like you got some difficulty for both female users, then you know that the problem is not actually not applied generally for everyone, but more specific to this type of users. It's a very useful actually if you can identify this. Okay. Also the same with the if we want to measure the user performance in typing letters in virtual keyboard, then you should invite both iOS users and Android users in that case to capture the general like a general results. So it's valid across various users, various type of users.
you still to identify the confining factor and then the
Not necessary for your current project. You just need to know
the
about it.
question is that are all of this the work of the UI UX design or is it somebody else? Maybe there is a specific location for this or the
All designers and also researchers need to be aware of this issue. Okay. Designers actually also do research. They do the similar thing because you got problems, you analyze that, you extract the scope from that particular problems, and then you offer some solution and you evaluate. Both words, design and research, actually got this similar similar things to do. Okay. In the beginning, usually when we talk about evaluations, so this is like the earlier phase, and then this is like the later phase. When we have a design, when we design something, when we just begin our iteration, we just begin our design. Usually we will do more formative evaluation than the summit. The usability evaluation, especially when you assess and try to quantify the user performance, that is part of the summative. Okay, but that's why it's okay. For you, if you got that numbers and the numbers is bad in your opinion, just keep it, because actually you will need to do that summative after you got like more than 2 iterations usually. In the beginning, in your first or second iterations, you will need to focus on how to utilize your evaluation to fix the problems, to fix the bugs in your design. Okay. So that are, I think that's, and then in addition to the time or how many accurate moves, how many tasks the user can complete, you can also measure the learnability of your design. The learnability is like the level of, so we measure whether if we measure the user performance to finally achieve an expert performance. So like, how long does it take for any users to finally achieve to finally master the user interface, to like get familiar with that, and then they already accustomed to know how to do, etc. So that's learnability. But again, you just need to know about this. It's not necessary for you to cover this. There are a lot of things to prepare, by the way. So maybe for your final project, at least, just as I suggest, just count the numbers of how many tasks is completed by your users, and how long does it take for each task. Okay, report that. That's it. Okay. It's just matter for your practice. And actually, you also usually, for more advanced evaluation, you will need to have a questionnaire, but it's not necessary for you to have that. And here we go. I say that when do we need to move from the design stage to the production stage, means that you give this idea to the developers or to the programmers. This is like the way we usually consider. So you have your like rival, you have some other company, some other teams that compete with you with your products. You will need to know their performance at first, or you can also use, like, if you already develop your products multiple times, multiple iterations, then you can use your previous version as the baseline. Okay, so you need to know, for example, if you want to measure the how many errors, moves, or number of clicks, mistakes on the user interface, then you need to check how many mistakes happened when the users make use of the previous user interface, for example. So let's say that we want to compare our current prototype with the previous prototype. Okay, In fact, you are now still like working on your first prototype, right? So it's not relevant actually to your discourse, but that's okay. You need to know about this. So suppose that you already finished your first prototype and then you got some feedback from the users, you fix your design based on that feedback, and then you come up with the second prototype. And then you want to measure whether this second prototype is the thing that you want to deliver to the production. Okay, how to decide whether your second prototype is goes to the production or not? You need to know how many errors. Usually, this desired is based on the. This is theoretically the base one. Is like the ideal one. Even the previous design hasn't yet achieved. Desired, like I believe, this is the similar performance or the same performance as the previous design. Acceptable is like the borderline when you may like, okay, this prototype is worse than the previous design, but I think still acceptable. And in fact, I need to make it rush because the due date. We need to as soon as possible to release this product. Then you go with this acceptable as a threshold to determine whether you want to put that prototype to the production or not. Okay. Hopefully you understand that. If the case is still the same with the current state, then you should not go with that prototype. You need to iterate the design again. Hey, sorry. The current label or competitors label are in here. So the previous, I'm sorry, it's supposed to be like the previous, so not desired. The previous prototype is in here in this state. The competitors also in this state. For example, if you want to compare yours with the competitors, with your rivals, acceptable is like way ahead your current performance. This is like the threshold that you want to achieve before finally you decide that this design will go to the production line. Okay, that's it. So the rest is, I think, is more. It's not really relevant to your final project for now. Okay. Do you have any question?
Yeah, so it was on our audience mostly going to be student. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, it's okay because I don't know if it's possible for you to find those Gojek drivers. You have a channel to those community, or you have like your neighbor is one of them. Then it will be better.
Because also it's going to be hard because, like you said, we need to make the like the real say the real prototype, but make the concrete that the user can imagine.
Well, for your case, I know that testing the helmet itself physically is impossible for now. Okay, you may focus on the HUD, the things that you design on your HUD, like asking the user what to do next. And I think it's also like not relevant for you and your team to utilize Figma because the HUD is just for the view, right? So yeah, so you should go with like cognitive walkthrough. So you give them, okay, this is the initial state, this is the end state. So you give like this is the initial, this is the end, and you ask them, what would you do to change this state to this state, and capture their feedback. Maybe they will say, like, for example, I will say something. What are the things that you said? You need to confirm them. It's going to be more qualitative, and that's, I think, is quite expectable. Because as I said, since this is your your first or initial or early iteration, your evaluation is going to be more about formative evaluation, which is the evaluation to help furnishing your specification, product specification. So it's not to measure the user performance on your product, not yet. So it's still okay. And but if you can find some task, some scenario that is in the end capture the that in the end quantify the user performance, I really appreciate it. Okay, try to find some cases that can help you practicing that. Okay. All right. Now I would like to have you reporting the progress. Can you maybe you can talk with your teams first. I may go with the. Are you ready? I'm still not very good. Okay, can we go with you first and then the helmet and then you? All right. So we start at 4:30. Okay. So let's take a short break. 2 minutes.
Yeah, so basically, we changed our doodles from Photoshop to Figma. And yeah, never worked with Figma, but it's actually quite straightforward, easy to use, and very useful. So we try to kind of make the way how we wanted it. So this is just like the Wikipedia page actually, because well, mainly it was for me the reason for this product was Wikipedia anyway, where if you change your language to English, basically nothing changes. So for example, if I wanted to buy this shirt, we now have a third button here.
Cool.
Which indicates live. Well, yeah, at least something live with the camera. So it first does say, I guess, because our product kind of depends on the worker, on the company, if there are workers available or not, to kind of start this session anyway. So this message just says something around this, well, most likely where it is about. And in this case, there are 3 workers available that take 10 minutes to set up.
So we assume that when the live button is on, it means that the worker, the stuff is ready there.
No.
Oh.
Or well, at least it says that there are 3 workers not doing anything or would be available for you to help. Although maybe if this would be like a real product, probably workers here would be 24/7 on the interactive help stream anyway. So maybe that could indeed change to there are already 3 workers available waiting to help users, which would mitigate this whole text box actually.
So in my opinion, this is okay, so this is my suggestion, okay, before I forget about the thing. This live feature, in my opinion, should apply the affordance and signifier that we learned before. And also about, I mentioned about the visibility of system status, right? Did I mention that before?
Sorry, what?
Visibility of system status last week, I believe. So like I said about if you want to load a page, you need to put a loading bar to indicate that the content is still loading. It should be fair. Your readers, your viewers should know about the situation completely.
Yeah.
Now, with respect to your issue in here, that live button should not be like always like that. In my opinion, it should signify some states in the background, in the counterparts. If the case there is no one in this store that is ready or steady for the live session, then the button should be like live session is unavailable, and it should be a disabled button. But if
Yeah.
the case is just like this, it is on, the feature is on, so should be with the condition there is somebody in the background, like you should have that UI for the sellers, right? They need to activate something, or if you assume that the seller application can be multiple accounts, multiple streamers for one merchant, that's very possible, it's very likely. Then we can also have that numbers like one streamer ready, two streamer ready there to indicate that, oh, I can use the function now.
Yeah, and the button, if no one is there, can also be like gray. Or would you rather have it removed?
Yes. I think gray is better. So because we also need to let the users know that this merchant is actually available in live stream, but unfortunately for now it's unavailable.
Yeah.
So maybe they can visit later, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's actually part of the signifier.
Because then this whole message, this whole interface would be gone.
No, it's still necessary to have this. Otherwise, this is kind of, in my opinion, on the part of the heuristic number 10, help and documentation. Heuristic number 10. So if this is like something that's gonna be very unfamiliar to many users, then you need to provide clear information about the feature on board.
Right.
So it's not necessary for them to find this on FAQ or some separate documentation. So it should be on board. This is very good. However, in my opinion, that should be larger. The font is too small, maybe?
Well, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because I did also have something. Oh wait, the text didn't. Okay, text.
And then.
Anyway, it will ask for tutorial.
Pardon?
Tutorial for the user interface. If you would proceed, maybe you could only do the first time.
Very good.
Although the button, it doesn't do anything. So you would just
assume that you got some tutorial. So there is one task, like asking your user. So in this task, this is the initial state. You are in the merchant page or in the product page, and you want to do a live session. Please proceed the live session until you find a page with a video tutorial on how to use the. So that's going to be the end state of the task in your evaluation. You need to declare that, and that's going to be one thing, one scenario. You need to test how long does it take for the users to understand the whole context and then finish the task, and whether they can successfully finish the task. Okay, and some of suggestions for you and the team is you may need to consider the best way to locate the accept, the reject button. Usually we will design this is about the information design. We will put the primary action as a priority. Like you really want the users to press that. And if for example, in this case, acceptance is the ones that we expect from the users, then it should be larger than the reject.
Okay, right. Yeah.
And if the users click the reject, they should press that with intention, purposefully.
Yeah, okay. Instead of now maybe missing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And speaking about priority, since the accept is the priority in this case, you should put it closer to the agent's actuator. So we'll talk about motoring now. So it should be at the bottom instead of at the top. Speaking about the order, because that's closer to your thumb. Can you understand? Yes.
Okay.
And you can also manage to have that is all of the at the bottom instead. And because we do not interact with that information with the text, you can put it farther away from the from the fingers. Put something closer to the fingers if the scenario would like to ask your user to let the users to reach them, to reach the elements, to interact with the elements. I can understand. But put it farther away, it's not gonna be interacting with the elements.
Yeah.
You may continue.
Makes sense. Yeah, so here would be a loading screen, which the first
Got
message
it.
would be about default language. Second one would
Got it. Very good.
If you don't, yeah. But yeah, okay. This might be too much text. But then again, this would maybe be displayed in 10 minutes of time.
Very good. Okay.
And then this would be the signal.
Awesome. Okay.
So yeah, at the beginning, someone's like talking about the product. You can see your text, his text. You have the option to either type something.
Very good.
Stop share. You can send it.
So it's gonna be another task, right? For example, like asking questions. You design. You decide what task would be for this specific scenario. This one is really lovely. Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, you can, because language is still there. We talked about it last week. You only do it one time. Although now I still have it there, but you can kind of
Yeah.
down, minimize
And
it.
that may raise a question for the users if you ask them like change the language, they may kind of confused. What? Change the language? I didn't see any icons here representing that. That's gonna be problems, right? So you may find that is as a problem. But if you want to like, okay, you got the problem, you identified already, then alternative designs would be just put all those buttons all at once. It's not necessary for you to click that three dots. So it's up to you. So whether you want to test this or not, so just put it on that three dots, everything, and give it a test whether your users know how to figure out the buttons.
Yeah, like this is start.
Yeah, that's okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Sure.
So we had the tap to speak.
Cool.
And so everything gets black here for the users to kind of, well, should know that you need to push the talk.
Very good.
In order for them to,
Very nice.
in order for the worker to receive the message that is being spoken, push the talk, and this would kind of indicate that you were talking. If you stop pushing, hopefully indicate that it doesn't record your message. And then we have like the AR, which you
Okay. By the way, before we talk about, we discuss about the AR. Imagine that you put your finger on that push to talk button. It will block that animation. Don't you think that you make it for nothing then? It's like you put so much effort on locating that animation, but it's gonna be under the thumbs. So the user won't be able to see that.
Yeah, I mean, if you're in the voice conversation, you won't see the other buttons anymore.
No, I'm talking about your that talking animation. So it should supposed to be not on the center of the button. Maybe you can put it like circulating, because that animation is maybe occluded by the thumbs. So the users cannot differ, even especially for the ones that have a very big thumb.
Oh, you mean the animation? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they cannot distinguish whether it's now capturing your voice or not.
Yeah.
Can you understand?
Yeah. Yeah. True. It's indeed. Yeah, this would be the AR, so you can see your you would see your environment with
Very good.
the product,
Very good.
and you would still have either the option to type or speak.
Cool.
And I guess, yeah, you would have 3 options where you would see the price on top of the product.
Okay, great.
Guess the measurements,
Very good.
and then you would be able to
Cool.
kind of have the different, different sorts they
Different
offer.
style, different color. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome.
And yeah,
Don't you think that the price tag should always appear instead of pressing the button and then you make it appear? So you just need to allow the users to play with the dimension and the the appearance, because maybe if you choose red color because it's a limited edition, then the price will be different.
yeah,
You know,
makes sense.
and if you choose like a different dimension, you can like having different choices of dimension, and it will change the look, and then the price tag will be also different.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Makes sense. Yeah, I think that's it
Yes,
for you.
good.
And yeah,
Now
there would
this-
be here a button for you to buy the product.
Okay. Thank you.
And I do have another question, because for now the report is kind of still the same. However, I still have some options. Check how I can change my screen.
By the way, during your final report, you should also speak. Okay.
Okay.
Otherwise, I will only give the score, the grade for frankly.
So since previous time we had comms, but they weren't like in branches. I still didn't, or the comms aren't made, but these were the comms I was considering.
Mhm.
So if you would engage with the worker, you could do it either via text or conversation. You could also receive the worker's answer either via text or speech.
Okay, so I think it's good enough to have these 6 comms for your final project. As I said to you, you just need to pick 1 or 2, maybe 2 comms, and then try to compare the performance of those and develop some scenario. Okay, so you may need to check if the case is asking questions using text, how would the user will perform? How would the user perform? Ask them about qualitatively about do you like this kind of interaction, and also quantify the performance, measure the time and how many errors it click, etc. Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
But that's the things that relevant to the evaluation that we talk about today.
So for the project in the report, you want 6 or 2, or is it 2?
2 across these 6 job comms.
Okay.
Because to evaluate things needs sometimes, I think,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, 2 is enough.
Okay.
Just for practice. Thank you. Very good. Now I can move to the helmet.
So it's not a video, it's a GIF. Like a video you need to pay, but for a GIF, you can just download it and put it in as an image. Yeah, I will not play here, but only
Just
when
want
you
to
play.
changes.
Yes, the changes and
But it
something that
is
you not
considered
need
a
to
GIF,
come from
so
for
it's
us.
video, but it's considered an image.
Okay, so we change the speed limit to this.
Okay, awesome.
That it gets rather the further you are from the speed limit. Is that
You
okay?
can-
Yeah,
you can go
thanks.
from here, but you just.
Very good.
Right.
Feedback triggers now whenever the user speaks or the end speak. We need to play these songs.
Right. But it's okay. You can just hang out there. So, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because other constraints in the AI, basically like typical AI stuff, you cannot do illegal things with AI, and it's also constrained. Cool. Very good. Only the context of driving and navigation, so that it doesn't go everywhere. You can use AI with the AI there to do other things.
Second one is that we limit the volume, maximum parameters of human hearing. Third one is that the helmet the button will activate the power button will activate when the user holds it for a while. And for an example, the user may not once pressing the call button and pressing. Oh, I forgot. There's a button right? Answering button kind of stuff. And the user can press it for a while or using voice with the intention of answering, for example, like this answer the call or answer it. And there's the visibility. Is actually an audible feedback state as we right now for the regular life. Okay, and then we will begin. And after that, the consistency, we have to make sure that following uniform design language, making them easy for businesses. Age generated stuff, so that's why you may understand and see that it's really region of construction. Making voice command, enterprise design, AI responses, user experience, and the mapping using phones, and also having HUD layout.
Okay. Well,
It's all that we have.
Okay. Thanks for the comprehensive, the almost finished report. We just need to.
Oh yeah. So that, for the feedback circle, do we include this question that you
Yes, actually, you also need to.
we need to format it in a different way to make it okay to format.
It's okay. You can use your own way as long as substantially it already reflects the.
So as long as it is contain all the material that we have. It's fine. Is that okay?
Yeah, I think so. Sorry. So your next homework will be designing some of or picking one of or two tasks, and if it's possible for you to make it like a prototype on Figma, that would be better because it's more testable. You can ask the users to try, and you can quantify the performance. But it's not then maybe for just for your case, because this is very unique, you cannot make it in a Figma prototype. I don't know. You should give it a try at first. But if you cannot make it in a Figma, then your evaluation is going to be more qualitative. So it's like you have that, as I said, you have this initial state, is the end state, and then you give the users a chance to predict or to give an idea what is the things that they need to operate to do on the interface to achieve this end state. So some of it should be you should depart from the goals, one or two goals that you present. By the way, Franklin, don't forget to also write the report. So you need to submit the PDF report as well.
For next week.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I will create a submission page for this at my desk classroom.
So the test, not test. The usability evaluation, usability of evaluation.
Yes. It doesn't have to be usability evaluation. I'm sorry to make this really specific today. That the topic is usability evaluation, but unfortunately, if the case is like just like you today, we are still like at the early stage of the development. Usually, we cannot conduct or carry out the usability evaluation. Because in usability evaluation, we are gonna make everything quantitatively. It's like an empirical studies. So you need to measure things. But for some reasons, especially for your case, it seems that you cannot except that you can make like just what I haven't yet checked. Oh, you got those two branches, right? In the gums. Then you can go with that, for example. It's the similar case to the Franklin. So you provide these two scenarios in the two different Figma prototypes, then you measure the performance of the users on this method in these two methods. Okay.
Can we tell our test participant beforehand, like what can they do using, for example, we tell them this helmet may respond to voice.
Yeah, basically during the test, you need to inform your users about the initial state. So you are now in the page of what? Now I would like you to do something so that explain about the end state. That is on the goals, right? So you have the initial and end state, but the users may need to figure out what is in the middle. Okay.
Right, so we don't tell users what the feature is, but we tell them
Yes. Yes.
they need to figure out.
So what to do? Yeah, on their own.
And the business one is said that 5 is good, right? So
Yes. Four is good. Four is good. Four is already good. But it has to be somebody out of this class. Okay. Good. The
Yeah,
last tip, yes.
for me, international should be fine, right?
Fine.
I'm the only one, almost only one here in informatics, Electro,
Yes.
Good.
Fine. Fine.
outside of.
You can ask both of them. It's okay.
So it's really
Yes. Without the audio.
without the
Yes. So you are already inside, right? So you may share your screen. What time is it now? Almost 5.
So from the last meeting, you decided to fix up some of the documents because it's all messy. So we just what was it called?
tidy up some things and edit some more things. What we tidy up is first of all the images. We
Mhm.
added titles here,
Mhm.
picture 6.1.
Mhm.
And we also decrease the amount of bones that we've put in because before you said that there are too much and it's a bit redundant, so
Yes.
yes, we're what is it, decrease the amount of GOMs that we put in, and we also group the GOMs by devices. So there is the GOMs that are correlated to AC, to rooms, to lamps, and to trigger. And we've also can you zoom in on one? So before you said that the top should be the initial state. We've also changed that. Now it is in the initial state, and the bottom one is the change state of the drop setting.
Okay. For your task, please pick two tasks that is distinguishable. Like in my opinion, for example, in here, one is for AC, and the second one, if I may suggest, is the length, maybe.
The what's it?
Oh, the water heater is also,
Okay, so we should just say one.
yes, for the task.
or the usability.
for the usability. Okay.
Okay. Document. Yang di dokumen ini.
No.
And then we like the doodles, you know, like the numbers, but the last way you suggest that we put like AR part, part, we still have to make that, so we put.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
looking forward to change the.
Yes, please make this application is more futuristic. I would say because the current presentation is similar to many smart home applications, to be honest. Right. If you want to, if you can develop other goals that you can provide that you already provide now, that would be really appreciated. The goals that we provide currently, actually, in my opinion, is just the regular interaction with the mobile apps or the smartphone mobile apps. And we can instead present goals for the AR, for example, or something else, the things that it's not just really clicking the icons of the buttons, something that is usually on the to-do list, the regular to-do list. Okay?
So make a note that is not what people knows.
Yes. Okay. Well, I think you know because you will learn many examples of the smart home application. Okay, thank you very much, guys, for your presentation.
Like you said, make gender specific ones or the participant. Like for example, to female to
If we can make it, I think gender, if we can make like two male and two females, that would be the ideal one.
And do we have to directly do interview or it would be like in a form or maybe in a Zoom?
We can do a Zoom call. It's okay. Yeah, I think still okay.
do we need to record or maybe the phone next time?
Better to record it and then. Yes, so then I think for many in this class, maybe just agree on this term. If you want together, all the teams, just conduct a Zoom call for the test.
I can just give I live close by a lot of internationals. I can just give them my laptop.
Then, as I said, it would be better if you can have that session recording. So if you are not in Zoom call, then please do not forget to record using your mobile phones the session,
Yeah,
so you can watch the behavior, etc.
I think if I just give my laptop, I screen record. And
Oh yes, this also can work with the same. You can also like turning on your Zoom locally, right? And then
yeah.
then you record the screen. That's also.
And do you give all the participants the same tasks?
Yes.
Okay.
Same task. Okay. Thank you guys. Good afternoon. Assalamualaikum. See you next week.